It's like Xavi and Iniesta in one.
Yeah.
He could beat a man. And
people watch Pedri and see a fragile talent prone to injury. Paul Scholes watched him for 90 minutes and saw a ghost. In 2026, after witnessing Barcelona dominate a physical Newcastle midfield, the Manchester United legend dropped a quote that silenced the critics. "We were terrified. We thought his body had failed him. We thought he lacked the legs to survive the modern high-intensity game. But a master of the midfield doesn't look at legs, he looks at the mind." Scholes pointed out something we all missed. He watched world-class athletes chasing shadows, not because Pedri was faster, but because he was already 3 steps ahead. Scholes realised that Pedri isn't just a player, he is a hybrid of the 2 greatest midfielders to ever play the game. The world doubted the Xavi-Iniesta Hybrid. We thought the comparison was just hype, but as Scholes plainly put it, he was making them look like they weren't there. Narrator: Scholes was right. The brain is the most dangerous weapon on the pitch, and Pedri has 2 of the best ever inside his. For 3 years, the conversation around Pedri wasn't about his talent, it was about his hamstrings. After playing 73 games in a single season as a teenager, the injury fear became a permanent cloud over his career. Fans and pundits started to use the word finished before he even turned 22. They argued that the modern game had become too physical, too fast, and too Premier League for a player like Pedri to survive. We were looking for a powerhouse. We were looking for legs, and because Pedri didn't have the physique of a marathon runner, we assumed he was a relic of a bygone era. We were looking at the wrong data. Then came Newcastle, a team built on intensity, power and high pressing. This was the ultimate litmus test for Pedri. If he was fragile, this midfield would break him. Paul Scholes sat in the stands, admittedly not a regular follower of La Liga, and watched a clinic. He didn't see a player struggling to keep up with the pace, he saw a player who had slowed time down.
And again, we're not talking about legs, we're talking about the brain of a footballer.
Scholes noticed that while the Newcastle midfielders were sprinting, Pedri was walking, not because he was lazy, but because his positioning made sprinting unnecessary. He was playing chess while everyone else was playing rugby.
It's like Xavi and Iniesta in one.
Yeah.
He could beat a man. And
this is where Scholes dropped the bombshell. He called Pedri Xi and Iniesta in one. To any Barcelona fan, that is the highest form of blasphemy. You don't compare a kid to the 2 greatest midfielders in history. But look at the mechanics. He has Xavi's internal GPS, the ability to know where every player is without looking. But he also possesses Iniesta's slalom, that sudden gliding burst through the lines that breaks a defensive block. Scholes realised that we weren't looking at a new version of one legend, we were looking at the evolution of both. Why does Paul Scholes' opinion matter more than 1,000 Twitter threads? Because Scholes was the gold standard. Xavi and Iniesta themselves used to study Scholes. He is a man who values the pause, the ability to hold the ball until the perfect moment. When Scholes says a player is in another league, he isn't talking about statistics, he's talking about control. Narrator: in the Newcastle game, Pedri had a 96% pass completion rate under pressure, but Scholes saw beyond the number. He saw that every time Pedri touched the ball, the opponent's momentum died. He didn't just play the game, he governed it. We were scared because we didn't want to get our hearts broken by another what if. We let the injuries blind us to the genius that was staring us in the face, but the prophecy of Scholes has come true. Pedri has survived the storm. He has proven that in a world of athletes, the philosopher still reigns supreme. Xavi was right about Lamine, and Scholes was right about Pedri. We just needed the courage to believe it. Which legendary prediction should we analyse next? Let us know in the comments. Subscribe to Players on Legends for more.
Frenkie de Jong. Ferran Torres, dat is een goede bal. Pedri, schitterend gedaan. Speelt er 2 uit voor.